So I have now seen the latest PG-13 dump on the horror franchise done by Hollywood, The Darkness, directed by Greg McLean, who did the Wolf Creek series. Now, I didn't see the Wolf Creek movies. I'm not a really big horror fan, to be completely honest with you, but I believe that they're R-rated. And they're popular. There's 3 of them. They're working on the 3rd one, and I think there was also a mini-series. So this guy knows his business. And then he did The Darkness. And The Darkness is a low-budget horror film, but it's a PG-13 low-budget horror film. As a low-budget horror film, I thought that The Darkness did pretty good. There was one scene which I thought was really terrible CGI, but beyond that, I mean, from a visual standpoint, this story was pretty good. The special effects were, they kind of harkened back to maybe your 80s era stuff, but the cinema style was very modern and very well done. One of the problems here is you have a low-budget PG-13 horror film with Kevin Bacon in it, and Mr. Bacon is an incredible actor. I remember one of my favorite horror films of all time, horror comedies of all time, is Tremors with Kevin Bacon, and I mean, you know, it's like Tremors, it really is. It's a horror movie with bacon. Bacon. You know, love that thing. But this movie is, of course, not as good because it's, I mean, really, even the PG-13 rating was a little strong for this. It's more of a PG. I did enjoy Kevin Bacon's character, but unfortunately, I mean, as something of the hero of this story, he's not doing enough heroing. There are a lot of side plots and nonsense there. And then another thing, David Mazouz as Michael, or the child of the film, he's supposed to be a kid who's autistic or has some other developmental disorder. Some of the time he seems perfectly normal, some of the times he doesn't. I'm wondering if they researched it well, because he would be a very high-functioning autistic. I have dealt with those before, but the problem is that you have a very high-functioning autistic who most of the time talks normal, and there's that one scene where he, like, grunts and screams. There are things that don't fit together well with his character. I don't know if that's inaccurate. It's something I haven't seen, and guess what? I have a degree in psychology. So I'm not saying he's improbable. I'm saying that the direction he was led in, I did not find convincing. And that brings us down to the real problem with this. It is the writing. This film is essentially acted in a reasonable manner. It is shot in a reasonable manner for its budget. It is not a bad film. But the writing is atrocious. What they've done is they've taken a bunch of bits of other horror movies, squished them together, taken out the violence and blood and gore and all the things that we would expect for a horror movie, and left you with something that, well, if I ran into this on Netflix, I'd be like, not so bad. The only problem is when you expect me to buy a ticket to this garbage, that's why I'm upset. This is a movie designed to be in the theater. It really should have been just a home or video release. I can't recommend it. It's not a terrible movie. It's just poorly written. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the matter. So, in the comments there down below, why don't you tell me, what is your favorite bad horror movie? You have to admit, it's a bad movie, but you like it anyway, and it's horror. That's what I want to know. Anyway, I am losing my voice because I am yelling at all the airplanes interrupting my videos. I'm Richard.